Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, happy to have you with me. You can always text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Should you wish to be on the program. I want to address this to, if I get this right, my boss's 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 boss. My boss's 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 boss. If I work my way up, in theory, up the totem pole from Cox WSB in Atlanta to Cox Media Group to Apollo Global, which is the private equity company that owns the company that I work for. Mark Rowan is the head of Apollo Global. And Mark Rowan was on CNBC after the attack, the horrible attack in Israel. And he had some very choice words about the University of Pennsylvania and about the anti-Semitism seen on that college campus. He is unhappy. In fact, I played some of the audio on my show after that happened. He has been asked to step down as chairman of the Wharton School, which is the business school at the University of Pennsylvania. Let me play you some of this audio. This is Mark Rowan on the University of Pennsylvania.
Look, there has been a gathering storm around these issues. Microaggressions are condemned with extreme moral outrage, and yet violence, particularly violence against Jews, anti-Semitism, seems to have found a place of tolerance on the campus, protected by free speech. President McGill is not an anti-Semite. President McGill is just not capable of exercising moral leadership here because she feels academic pressure, peer pressure. And it's unfortunately the environment we live in campus. Over the past 2 weeks, more than 4,000 of our alumni, many of our leaders, many of our trustees, many of our board members have kind of finally said we've had enough. And signed an open letter basically telling President McGill that she was heading in the wrong direction. What's happened since has just been, a compounding of mistakes. Imagine telling a group of firefighters a week after 9/11 that you're sorry for their loss, and then adding the word "but" as if you're going to explain the action of the terrorists. That's kind of what's happened on our campus. And at the same time, while protecting free speech, President McGill, Chairman Bach, selectively after, trustees and leaders of boards, asking them to resign for exactly exercising their free speech.
Speak to this.
What have they done?
Speak to this. They're asking trustees to step off the board.
Oh, absolutely.
For what?
To silence them.
To silence them. That's exactly
ask
what's
you to
going
step
here.
off?
I was strongly encouraged to reconsider my chairmanship of the Wharton board, to which I told them, no thanks. And by the way, the other 3 trustees of the university said exactly the same thing. So imagine in this moment of, kind of moral preaching, where people are talking about free speech and the exercise of free speech. In the background, there are 3 trustees and 1 chairman, in my instance, who are being asked to step off the board, all of whom signed this open letter disagreeing with what the university is doing, and all 4 of us Jewish.
that was the Monday after the attacks on October 7th. Now, I take it back. That was October 11th that he said that. So let me talk to Mark Rowan for a moment. But I want to talk to all of you. But Mark Rowan is the CEO of Apollo Global, the parent company of the company that I work for. He is upset with the University of Pennsylvania. He's not alone. A number of major donors, the Lauder family of Estee Lauder, the Huntsman family, John Huntsman, a number of others are pulling their money back from the university. A number of Harvard donors are pulling their money out of that university because the universities claim to be champions of free speech, but they regularly silence people for supposed microaggressions. They educate their students on microaggressions, but 1,400 Jews are murdered in their homes, and they're perfectly willing to, in the name of free speech, allow Hamas supporters to march across campus where they're chanting, literally chanting on Harvard's campus, among others, and the University of Pennsylvania, there's only one solution. Now, for those of you who are not students of history, Hitler called the extermination of Jews the final solution. It is not a coincidence that these college students are literally chanting, there's only one solution. So first of all, I want to ask these financiers and CEOs of companies, where's the anti-Semitism component of your DEI curriculum? Because I just went through the online harassment, et cetera, curriculum for my company that's owned by Mark Rowan's company, and there was nothing about anti-Semitism in it. Where's the education on anti-Semitism from your DEI units in the C-suites of America, many of whom come from these institutions that are championing Hamas right now? But there's something else going on here. There's something profoundly rotten in the schools of the elite in this country. I want you to notice we've heard about UC Berkeley, which you would expect. We've heard about Columbia University, Harvard University, Yale, the University of Chicago, which actually strongly rebuked the students and took action. They're one of the very few. Heard about the University of Pennsylvania. You notice where you're not hearing about these, and of course there's Georgetown and George Washington. You know where you're not hearing about these massive pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, anti-Semitic, anti-Israel protests? You're not hearing about them at my alma mater, Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. You're not hearing about them on the campus of Purdue University. You're not hearing about it in the SEC college towns. In fact, the University of Florida had a huge pro-Israel demonstration with only a smattering of pro-Hamas demonstrators. You're not hearing about the anti-Israeli sentiment at the University of South Carolina or the University of Georgia or the University of Kentucky or at Louisville. You're not hearing about it at the University of Alabama or Troy State. You're not hearing about the protests at LSU or Texas A&M, or the University of Arkansas, or Oklahoma. You're hearing about them at the rich, secular, white schools where the elite send their children. And those are the kids who will rise to inhabit the C-suites of the Fortune 500. Those kids will go to Dartmouth, they'll go to Harvard, they'll go to Yale, they'll go to the University of Pennsylvania, and they'll inhabit those C-suites because guys like Mark Rowan at Apollo value the people who go to those schools who they consider to be the academic elite. And the academic elite hang together, except now these kids on these college campuses want them to hang separately. You want to clean up the environment, stop hiring the kids from Harvard and hire the kids from Emory. Stop hiring the kids from Duke, frankly, and hire the kids from the University of North Carolina. Stop hiring the kids from Yale and hire the kids from the Citadel. Stop hiring the University of California at Berkeley students and hire the kids who went to Louisiana State University, Monroe. Stop hiring those kids from the elite academic institutions. Now, to those of you who are thinking, but there's something special about them, I thought that one time. Years ago, back in 2009, I got hired by CNN. I was a country bumpkin from Middle Georgia. Now, I happen to have grown up overseas. I've still been to more countries than states, but education-wise, I graduated from Jackson High School in Jackson, Louisiana, a public school where most of the kids who graduated did not have basic reading, writing, and mathematical skills. I graduated from there because my parents had first sent me to a private school for about 6 months, but oil prices in the Gulf War in the early 90s shot up to $1.25. They're like, well, we probably need to send you to public school instead. It was a horrible experience. I made good friends, and I hated every minute of it. Got great stories out of it. But I went from a very highly accelerated academic institution overseas to literally my first day in public school, had a kid in class who didn't know what the word liberty meant. Not making that up. And then I got the biggest academic scholarship to ever come out of Jackson High School, and I went to Mercer University. I had a scholarship to go to Duke, of all places. I'm glad I didn't go there. They were really not nice people. They wanted me to know I needed them. They didn't need me. So I went to this place called Mercer University, where they ultimately one day beat Duke in the NCAA basketball tournament, March Madness. But I got hired by CNN. And I literally am surrounded by people who are fellows of the Kennedy School at Harvard, people who graduated from Columbia, people who graduated from Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Dartmouth and Brown and Vassar and the University of Chicago and the University of Pennsylvania, and all of these prestigious, well-known schools, a lot of them in the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic. And I got to tell you, a lot of these people were dumb as hell. I mean, really not bright people. I was stunned to be head and shoulders smarter than so many of the people I was on television with, people who they used their father's connections to get ahead in life. I was on television. In fact, there's this one guy who I won't say his name. Y'all would know who he is. But his claim to fame is he and his girlfriend would have sex in the back of a campaign office every day. And he claimed to work for this campaign, and his father used his connections to get him on television as a campaign strategist. The kid did not know anything, had never conducted a poll in his life, had no real lived experience in life. I went into this place thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be surrounded by these academic elites. They were some of the stupidest people I've ever met. And to this day, most of them have horrible family lives. I may be from Middle Georgia now, a native of rural Louisiana. But I actually ran campaigns. I actually did polling. I actually did TV and radio commercials for candidates. I actually know what I'm talking about. Many of these people just use their elite listings on their resume to open doors for them. Stop opening the doors for them, Mark Rowan. Stop opening the doors for them, Estee Lauder family. Stop opening the doors for them, John Huntsman. Stop opening the doors for the kids from these institutions and watch the change happen. I can assure you, in my real world experience, you've got brilliant people who went to Tulane or LSU or Emory or the University of Georgia or even Georgia Tech. Now, they may have no social skills, but they're still geniuses. You can find people at Purdue. You can find people at Texas A&M. You can find people at University of Oklahoma. Look to the SEC. You're not having anti-Israeli, pro-Hamas, anti-Semitic protests in the streets of these academic institutions. Maybe those of you who are so into the elite Ivy League need to ask yourselves, why is it that these kids are marching, chanting, there's only one solution for the Jews, and you're not having that in all these other institutions? Maybe you should wonder what you yourself have done to contribute to an environment where a bunch of spoiled, privileged idiots can go get a degree that says Harvard, and you open the door for them and they want to kill you. maybe, just maybe, the ivy at the Ivy Leagues is poison ivy. And the best way to deal with it is to spray herbicide on it and go look to the SEC for your kids and jobs. You'll find people just as smart with a cute little accent who aren't out to kill you. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, John, you're going to be up next. Welcome.
Hello, Eric. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Well, just a couple of things. To your point a minute ago, you're talking about the Ivy League schools and what has surfaced over the last couple of weeks since the attack on Israel. This kind of thing has been happening at the Ivy League schools for years and years. When you talk about education versus indoctrination, we have family members who have gone up to the Ivy League schools, and they have come home denouncing their religion and saying some very bad things toward their parents for their beliefs. And, I just think it's interesting. I'm glad that it's finally surfacing, but it's just been going on for a long time. And would like to get your thoughts on why.
Listen, I got to tell you, the postmodern academics who believe the whole world can be divided between oppressors and oppressed, they've brainwashed a bunch of kids. They've indoctrinated kids. They've given up on teaching them the fundamentals and encouraged the kids to develop a worldview that is out of step with the values of this country. And in that postmodern ideology is a Marxist rubric that says the whole world is about power. And power is explained between oppressed and oppressors and must be seen through this intersectional lens. And this is what our kids have been doing. This is why people like Chris Rufo have been sounding the alarm about critical theory in schools, because that's what critical theory does. That's how it operates. And we're seeing the fallout on our college campuses now. It's not too late to stamp it out, but something's got to be done. By the way, speaking of stamps, I should say stamps.com. All you need to use them is a computer and a printer. You can manage orders on the go with a mobile app. You schedule package pickups. You connect with every major marketplace and shopping cart. You get carrier discounts up to 84% at the post office and UPS. And you find the cheapest rates. You find the fastest rates, whichever you need. Cheap, fast, both. However you want to make it work, you can find it with stamps.com. They've been around 25 years. I've been a customer for 20 of their 25 years. You get access to the post office UPS services you need from your computer or your mobile device. And when you're running low on supplies, stamps.com has a supply store you can order from. Millions of businesses use stamps.com. I am legitimately one of them. And with the holiday rush coming, if you got a lot of packages to send, you can sign up. Use my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, for a special offer. You get a 4-week trial. You get free postage. You get a free digital scale. You do not have a long-term commitment. You do not have a long-term contract to sign. You go to stamps.com. You click on the microphone. You put in my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. Stamps.com, the microphone. Put in my name, Eric. No long-term commitment, no contract. It's a great deal, a great company. Start using stamps.com today. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, we are, believe it or not, headed into the holiday season. I do ads on my flagship station, WSB, for a group called Frugal Kitchens. It's a very cool concept. Essentially, you do the initial estimates and measurements in your kitchen. They then send a guy in to get the precise measurements, and they build out your kitchen cabinets and counters, and they can come in and like in a week, they redo your kitchen. So you're not sitting out for a month waiting for your kitchen to be redone. But so it's a great system. My wife and I, we're going through the process. We need to update our counters and kitchen tops and our countertops and cabinetry and all that stuff in the kitchen. And it's a great process to do and get it in and out quickly. But the point is not to do an ad for Frugal Kitchens for you, but to tell you, I'm having to do a holiday ad for them. Like I had to record my holiday ad for them. I'm like, how are we doing holiday ads? Well, we're like a month away from Thanksgiving all of a sudden. We are 2 months away today, 2 months from Christmas. Can you believe it? A buddy of mine told me his neighbor doesn't like Halloween, and they decorated their Christmas stuff yesterday. It has a Christmas tree in the front yard. It has become that time of year. So let's pivot away from all the national and international news and actually focus on doing some good for some people. One of the most generous people I know. He's also a great barbecue guy. Like he's like I shouldn't call David like a truffle finding pig, but he's like a barbecue finding dude from the South who like can sniff out the best barbecue anywhere. He's joining me by the phone. How about that introduction, David?
That was pretty good, Eric. I appreciate it. I love some good barbecue.
Yeah, so my buddy David Huey, you work for a group Hungry for a Day, and you pushed me to do this earlier this year than we've done it before, and I thank you for it. And that is, there are going to be, because of just the cost of living right now, the cost of what it means to buy the food for Thanksgiving, a lot of people who need help this year. And you guys really step up and help people cover the cost of Thanksgiving meals.
That's what we do. We've been talking to our recipient organizations, the food pantries, the soup kitchens, the shelters, the women and children's homes. And what we're seeing, and we go through, we say like, hey, how many are you feeding this year? What is your cost going to be? And the cost is up 32% over what it was last year. And last year was up I think it was like 16%. So yeah, you nailed it with inflation.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Hungry for a Day. And what I really love about this is you're not asking people to donate like the turkey and the stuffing and stuff. You're saying if you'll give $40, we can feed a family of four. If you give $80, we can feed two families of four. And so it's a number. And so if you can give $40, we can feed a family of four. If you can only give 20 and someone else can give 20, we can feed that family, and on it goes. So you're providing all the stuff for Thanksgiving, depending on how much people can donate.
Yeah, that's it. We, years ago, we decided Hungry for a Day, and Hungry for a Day is a nonprofit. And our goal is inspiring generosity. We do that around hunger-related causes. And we found out most people that want to help, the underserved, the misfortunate, the people that are just struggling, going through a hard time. They know people, they want to help. They know people are struggling, but they're like, where do I even give? Like, I know there's some nonprofits I've heard of. So what we've decided is we're not going to have freezers. We're not going to have trucks. But what we've done is we've gone out and we've identified organizations that literally across the country, we're helping organizations from California to Massachusetts, from Michigan down to Florida. So really all across your, entire radio network that you have. We've identified organizations that have needs, that have people that need help, and we provide the funding. We connect people that have the funds with people that need help. And so people don't have to go out and research and find their own organization. We've been having these conversations with these groups, and we've identified, I'm going to give you a number. Right now, we've identified 70,600 people that need a meal this holiday season. And I'm still waiting on numbers from 6 different organizations. So my guess is that's probably going to be in the 80,000 people range.
Wow. That is a lot. Yeah. And so folks, just cut to the chase here. David set up a website for me, Eric Thanksgiving, ERICK Thanksgiving. But to make it even easier for you, if you text the word donate to 33777, I'll send you back the link to the website, and it's very easy. It really is straightforward. $40 feeds 4 people, $80, 8 people, $200, 20 people, $400, 40 people, whatever you can give. And it goes to groups around the country that are in need for over 70, 80,000 families that need help covering the cost of Thanksgiving this year. So David, how long have you been working with Hungry for a Day?
Yeah, so we started Hungry for a Day about 13 years ago. And it was really, it's funny, you mentioned, you let off with barbecue, and that's kind of how it started, right? I do a guy's trip every year, usually a bunch of college buddies, and we go off somewhere, we eat barbecue, we usually watch football, and have a great weekend. And we were sitting around one Saturday afternoon just talking about, man, how we're blessed to even be able to do this. We have good jobs, we're able to take time off work, go on vacation, spend time with, people that we love and care about, do something that's a lot of fun, eat a lot of good food. And there's people out there that, man, they don't even know where the next meal is coming from. That's kind of how Hungry for a Day started. We're like, man, everybody can give out of their abundance. And hey, and if you can't afford to give, you can go hungry for a day. We could all do without a meal and help somebody else eat. That's how Hungry for a Day got started. The Thanksgiving project got started about 11 years ago. And I have a friend of mine who leads a church in Florida, and he's like, hey, we're good at getting people to come to church, but we want to be able to do some impact in our community. And so we helped. The first year we led a project to feed 25 families a Thanksgiving dinner, ended up feeding 220 that first year, which was awesome. We blew away our number. And from that point, other faith communities got involved. We now have corporate partners. We have over a dozen corporate partners this year, businesses that are raising money through their employees. We have, if you want to find about that, if you're a business owner or someone in your company says, hey, how can I do this in my company? Go to our website, hungryforday.com, and you'll see how to do that. So it's grown over the last 11 years. To kind of answer your question, last year we fed over 68,245 people a Thanksgiving meal.
Wow. And so I was reading yesterday a thing online someone put up there where they actually went to a food pantry and asked, what do you need? What's the best stuff? And it was remarkable, like stuff I hadn't thought of. Like if you're going to donate Hamburger Helper, they need hamburger to do that, and they may not be able to buy it. Or if you're donating cereal, the boxed milk goes great with cereal because it's shelf stable as opposed to the cold stuff, and kids need milk with their cereal, and just things I had never even thought of from food pantries around the country of the stuff they need.
Yes, so many incredible needs. All right, I don't know if I know I've told you this, but I know that your radio audience hasn't heard this. So last year we've been doing this now. I think is this our third or fourth year that you've had me on? So at least
yeah, I think so. So
last year. And this is, so we set up the Eric Thanksgiving, ERICK Thanksgiving.com last year. So we were able to, the first year we had no clue who we actually gave from Eric, right? From your program.
Right.
So last year we were like, let's track it and figure this out. So last year we had donations just that gave through that website. Listeners from 45 different states gave over $135,000 last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So, thank you.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. Listen, I appreciate you doing this one more time. Folks, if you just text donate to 33777, I'll send you the right link back. And again, it's very, if you can't even give $40, if you can only give $20, you can still feed two people. And it's 40 feeds 4 people. It feeds a family of 4. And David, what do they get? Essentially, they're going to get like the turkey and the sides for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, every organization does it a little bit different. The majority they're doing the turkey, they're doing the macaroni and cheese, sweet potatoes, rolled green beans, corn, all the stuff you and me love eating. And, some we're working with a Hispanic organization in Atlanta that they're like, hey, we're giving out chicken and tortillas. I was on the phone with somebody this morning from Boston, and, they were telling me that, like, hey, we can't do turkeys because a lot of these people that we're working with are living in these, rent by the week hotels to try to avoid living in their car. And we're going to do a ham for them because they have no way to cook a turkey, but they can cut up some ham and make a sandwich out of it. So it's a little bit different, but the majority they're doing it the same kind of meal that you and I are eating.
That's thoughtful. Man, and now you got me hungry too. Listen, David, I appreciate the work that you do tirelessly for this, and let's see if we can beat last year's number. We got more stations now, so maybe we can do more.
I love it. Appreciate what you do, and looking forward to hanging out with you personally again soon. Whether that's on your
you're always welcome on the front porch when you're not putting your Instagram selfies up walking in the water on the beach.
We live a very blessed life, and that's what we do this for. We're like, hey, there's so many people out here that are blessed that could do something to help out some other people. There's, like you were saying, there's people out here listening that can give. Hey, you can help. You said $20 and help 2 people eat Thanksgiving. There was, I think we had, it was over 25 people last year gave at least $1,000 just from the Eric Thanksgiving.com site. So there's people out there that are listening that can really help some people out. So if you're one of those people, man, don't just be thinking about what are you doing this Thanksgiving? Are we going to, my weird uncle's house? Do I got to bring the macaroni and cheese this year? But like, hey, how can you actually help some other people that aren't even sure where that meal is coming from this year?
Well, look, I appreciate it so much. David Huey, Hungry for a Day. Thank you so much for joining me. They got a goal over 75,000. They're really realistically looking about 80, 85,000 families that need Thanksgiving dinners, and it really is an easy thing. You can go to ericthanksgiving.com, and it's ERICK. That's how I spell my name, ericthanksgiving.com. Or just even easier, if you just text the word donate to the phone number 33777, I'll send you back the link to ericthanksgiving.com, and it's a very push button. You want to feed 4 people, 8 people, 20 people, 40 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever you can do. And if it's another amount, you just put in the other amount. If it's $5, $10, $20, whatever you need, it is tax deductible. It is a great nonprofit, Hungry for a Day. They started in the Atlanta area, and now they do work with food pantries coast to coast. So text text donate to 33777 or go to Eric Thanksgiving. And the thing that I really like about this is it's very tangible. So you want to feed a family of 4, donate $40. Depending on the setup, as you heard David say, it varies for people who are in shelters or they're living in the daily or weekly like motels. They'll do ham instead of turkey because they're not going to be able to cook a turkey, but the ham is already smoked. So they'll do that. But they will, in a lot of cases around the country, they'll provide the turkey. They will provide the macaroni and cheese and the sweet potatoes and the rolls. They'll provide everything they need for their Thanksgiving. Some of them, they do smoked turkey, so it's not raw. The family's not even having to cook it. They're getting a smoked or a roasted turkey already with the sides prepared. But these food pantries, food banks, and soup kitchens around the country partnering with Hungry for a Day need your help to be able to do it. Thanksgiving is a month away. I think it's about a month from today, as a matter of fact. And so if you will text donate to 33777, I'll send you back the link. Dollar for dollar, you make a real difference for people's Thanksgivings. And I don't want to make a political point here. I will just say, given the cost of living and inflation right now, there are a lot of people struggling this year who were not struggling last year. And if you are blessed to be not struggling or have minimal struggles and you can just forego $10, please text donate to 33777. It's not political. It's just the state of the life we're living right now that a lot of people are going to be struggling for the holidays and could use your help. So thank you, David, and thanks to all of you. I mean, you guys raised over $100,000 in a day last year for this. So we're going to keep talking about it and see if we can expand that. Text donate to 33777. Now, let me tell you about Vision Computer. I love this company. And we have a computer from Vision Computers. And I'll tell you one of the reasons. My son has wanted a gaming PC for a number of years. And we weren't comfortable with my son having a gaming PC. And he's now got a couple of friends of his, one of whom has moved to Savannah, one of whom is in London. And they connect on the gaming PC. And it's great. We don't have kids at our house, and he's chatting with them. But I'm a Mac guy. I used to be a Windows guy, and I'm not. So I went to Vision Computer. They sat down with my son, who's 14, and he told him the games that he's playing, and they built him a PC that is not just one for the games he's playing, but one for the future games, the more advanced games, one that he's not going to have to upgrade. This computer's going to last him through high school, maybe into college, and we'll just upgrade parts as we need. We don't have to buy the new thing later. And he loves it, and they've been so great with him. He's got a phone number. He can call them faster than Google search, and he can get help with his computer. They helped him set up email. They helped him set up with a printer. And the cool thing is, being a 14-year-old, they actually got my permission before setting up email and stuff. They can do this for your kids and you at your house, build your computer and service it, but they can also do it for your business. So if you're a small businessman and you've got 20 employees, and you don't want to be the IT fixer-upper and you don't have the money to pay an IT guy, Vision can handle this for you as well. VisionComputer.com is the website, or 404-COMPUTE. If you call them at 404-COMPUTE and ask about the Eric Erickson special, they'll save you even more money. They can build your computers, laptop or desktop, and then they can be your IT department, every employee in your company, or your family. They got a phone number. If there's a problem, they call Vision. Vision can remote in over the computer, take care of it. They can talk you through it on the phone. They're great. VisionComputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. Breaking news, Mike Johnson is now Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. This just happened in the last few minutes. So while we were in commercial break, the vote was 220 to 209. Mike Johnson of Louisiana is elected Speaker of the House of Representatives. Democrats and members of the press are in an absolute meltdown over Mike Johnson winning the speakership because he denied the legitimacy of the 2020 election. I disagree with him. I would note that Jenna Ellis, when she pled guilty yesterday, outlined a number of the claims were false claims she attested to in a court document. Regardless of how your view on 2020, it's amazing how everyone wants to move on every subject except 2020, including the press. The press doesn't want to move on from 2020. The press wants to let it fester. Who else wants to let it fester? This guy.
Would you? I don't believe it, because I've spoken to Mark Meadows many times over the years, and he strongly believed the election was rigged. Now, of course, deranged Jack Smith and the prosecutors, they go after somebody for years, and they say, look, here's the story. We'll give you nothing. We'll erect a statue to you, or you're going to go to jail for 10 years for having done nothing wrong. So, a lot of people have to make that decision. Some people would never make that decision. Other people would. But Mark Meadows always felt it was rigged. The whole thing was rigged. It was rigged and it was stolen. And because it was rigged and stolen, our country's gone to hell. You take a look at the border. You take a look at Israel. That would have never happened. You take a look at Ukraine. That would have never happened. Our country's going to hell.
It is. I don't know that you can blame a stolen election, though. A lot of other reasons.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.